Hey y'all, what is going on? This is Jesse Both from the 19th hole, and I've got the rookie playthrough for the current community tournament. And hopefully with this information you can kind of get yourself on the right path to shooting a good qualification score and then improving yourself as you get into the opening round and then possibly the weekend round as well. So we got hole number 1 here, which is a par 3, and we're playing this one at 30% for the downhill shot. I'm going to be using the backbone and playing this shot off the fairway, but there is also a shot available with a sniper as well. If you have a sniper that's high enough level, I would say at least 6 plus, and if you have balls that are side spin 3. So for this shot here, playing with the Marlin, we're going to go with about 1.5 bars of top spin, a half bar of right spin here. We're going to aim our white ring kind of back there along the edge of the rough line. And then we want our ball guide kind of pointing down that line between the two squares, the light and the dark square. My second bounce here is a little bit too far back in my opinion. As you can see, my white ring's a little bit into the rough. I would like for you to have that ball on the edge of the rough line with that second bounce a little bit closer up to the edge of the fringe. So because of that, my ball is actually going to hit a little bit farther back than it should. It's going to bounce and it's going to actually come into the left of the hole. I think if you have that ball guide pushed up a little bit more, not only will you get a little bit better of a line to the hole, but then also you get a little bit better distance on the shot and get to the hole. So that is hole number 1. Alright, so for hole number 2 here, we'll be playing a big topper shot, and I definitely would recommend a power 0 ball, otherwise you'll find yourself in between clubs. We're playing 0% on the drive, we'll be playing max top spin, and 1 to 2 bars of left spin on the shot. First of all, we're going to watch my opponent play their shot. I'm going to play it similar to the way I play it. The only difference that they're going to make is that you're going to see that their ball guide is a lot farther along the bottom of the ground. Now, it's going to work out really good for him, but to me, it's scary to do it this way. But it definitely works out for him in his way of playing it. He does a very severe underpower on the shot, as you can see, as well. But it's going to bounce and it rolls really nicely through this hill. Now, this is not a way that I've ever played the shot that close to the ground. I've always liked to have a little bit of distance between the ground and my ball guide. But definitely something to consider if you're trying to find different ways to play this hole. The way I'm going to play it here is similar on the setup, but I'm going to have my shot maybe a little bit farther up, and I'm going to give myself a little bit higher of an arc to my shot. As you can see, my ball arcs a little bit farther off the ground. Now this is good, but then also this is bad in a different way. You may not get as good of a roll on the bounce, but I think you're a little bit safer as far as maybe not coming in too short and hitting that fairway too early on the bounce as well. As you see, it bounces up and through and then lands kind of on that hill and it rolls out really nicely onto the fairway. So both ways work, and if the other way looks better to you, then I definitely would say go ahead and play it that way. But if you find yourself trying to adjust your shot and you can't adjust quite enough because you're running into being in between clubs, that's when you know that you need to underpower your shot a little bit. So the amount of which you underpower your shot a little bit is definitely going to depend on how much of adjustment you were or were not able to make. So there's kind of a little bit of gray area in that sense on this hole when it comes to over and under adjusting, and a lot of that definitely could have to do with the type of club you have as far as the level big topper you're using as well. Alright, we got hole number 3 next, and this one is a par 5. I'll be playing this one with an extra mile and a Titan ball. Bring the Guardian and bring the Saturn for the backspin use on the shot. If you want to bounce the shot over, you're definitely going to be in Guardian distance. If you want to fly it over with a Titan ball, you will need to overpower the shot some, and you could possibly be still in Guardian distance, or if you can get far enough up the fairway, depending maybe on your level of driver or the amount of OP that you play, you can get to possibly Saturn range. We make our adjustment for the wind, then we push our shot back up to max. And for this shot, we're playing, I would say, about 50 to 60% overpower on that shot. And as you're going to see with that overpower, it does get me up the fairway quite nicely, but it's not going to be far enough to use our Saturn. So we will be in Guardian distance for this next shot. So we're going to play plus 10% for this next shot. And you'll find the club distance. If you're in min, mid, or max, as you can see, there's min right there. So we're playing about 25% for this shot. Actually, I think I move it up farther and we end up playing about 50%. But basically what you want to do is you want to line that second bounce right there, kind of, as you're going to see here. I'm actually going to pause the shot here in a second so you can see exactly where we play the shot. So as you can see, we play it right about mid distance here. And as you can see, my second bounce is just there to the left of that light green square. So when you see my ball come in, you're going to see it come in a way that if I had aimed it maybe about a quarter square more to the left, we would have got the drop. So full backspin, you want to use the back of this hill kind of to let the ball roll back to the hole. And as you see, we were very close from dropping it and about a half a square more to the left on that lineup. I think we had a really good chance to drop that one for the albatross. So a really good way to play that hole with the Guardian, in my opinion. All right, hole number 4. This is a par 3. We'll be playing plus 10%. I'll be playing a bounce over shot on this hole. There is a possibility of playing a rough bump as well, but I just feel like the bounce over shot is more consistent and gives you less of a chance to get into trouble. So as you can see, we're playing with 1 bar of backspin. We're playing this one at max distance. Play this shot at max distance, even though it's not really max distance. And we'll play with our red ring there along the edge of the rough line. And as you can see, my ball guide is going to be kind of aimed just to the left edge of the hole on the lineup. I want you to move that another about 1.5 squares to the left. So you'll just kind of adjust that ring down the edge of that rough line until your ball guide is aimed a little bit more left of the hole. We make this shot perfect, and it's going to come in, and it's going to have really good speed, a good bounce, but you're going to see it is to the right of the hole. So the only thing I want you to do is move your adjustment farther left of the hole on your initial lineup. Hole 5. We are going to be playing this one with an extra mile. I would definitely recommend bringing your backbone or your Saturn. I like the Saturn because I like the backspin for the second shot. But if you want to bring the backbone, if you prefer the backbone, then you can play with the backbone. I'm going to play this one to the left because I think for the second shot, the wind that you have for the second shot to the left is just such a great wind to give you a chance to drop the shot. You can also play a shot like a power hook to the right side as well, but I choose the left in the rookie just because of the wind angle for the second shot. So max top spin and left spin here. I'm using a power 2 ball, and as you're going to see, it's going to be plenty of distance here for me. We make our adjustment, we push back up to straight, and then we hit our shot just regular. It's going to bounce and it's going to roll a perfect distance up to the edge. So if you play with a higher level ball, like a power 3 ball, then definitely be careful on the amount of push-up that you have because you don't want to go too far into that rough. So definitely be careful if you decide to go with a higher power ball. All right, so my opponent Derek here is going to try the hook shot to the right-hand side. He's using a katana ball. If you want to play this shot, I would recommend going with at least a power 3 or even maybe a berserker ball. He's going to be playing full topspin and left spin, which is okay on this shot since we have a left to right wind. So basically what you're doing is you're just kind of eyeballing your landing zone, more towards the middle of that fairway. And then you're going to play full topspin and left spin on this shot. And for the reason, I would go with a higher level ball is to get the shot a little bit farther up into that fairway. With a power 2 ball, you're going to see he just doesn't have quite the bounce and the distance on the drive to get that ball all the way over. Now, you could try like a power curl shot, in which case, after you adjust for your wind, then you would make an extra adjustment for the actual power curl. And you can find the numbers for your club on golfclashnotebook.io and just decide what you want to use. Like an extra mile 5 is like 10.7 rings. So definitely, depending on what driver you have, you definitely want to look up those ring adjustments before you try a power curl shot. So for this shot here, playing plus 10%, we're aiming this one kind of, it looks like we're at the hole, but when we zoom in here, you're going to see my ball guide is actually right of the hole. So you want to make sure that that ball guide is pointed at the hole, because this is a shot with a straight tailwind that you want to go right at the hole. I would say at least 5 bars of backspin. I go right, full max right spin to straighten out that ball guide. And you can see it comes in nicely and bounces. And if we had gone right at the hole, we would have had a really good chance to drop it. So with just such a straight tailwind, that's why I suggest going to the left-hand side. The second shot is just too good to pass up with that type of a wind. Hole number 6 is next, and this is a par 5, definitely an albatross chance here. Be playing with a quasar ball, an extra mile, plus 10% for the elevation on the tee box. And we're going with 4 topspin, max right spin. You want to make sure that you don't too much topspin, especially if you have a higher level driver, or if you're using higher level balls. You don't want to go too far up in this fairway because you don't want to take yourself out of wood range for your second shot. So we make our adjustment here. No need to push up with this shot. Remember, we are only trying to get far enough up the fairway, or we do have a shot with our sniper or viper. And right there at the, let's see, 326 yard mark, we will be in a good spot. So for the second shot here, we're playing with 1 backspin and 2 to 2.5 bars of right spin. So we're going to be playing my shot here right about mid club. And, you know, I would definitely suggest going with a little bit more right spin than I went with, and then move your shot a little bit more to the left-hand side down that rough line. As you're going to see, I have my ball guide almost going to the hole. I'm not taking into account for the extended ball guide and the wind push. And for that reason, you're going to see my shot come in to the right of the hole. So definitely take into account for the extended ball guide and the push of that wind. As you see, we came in to the right as our ball was pushed farther to the right. All right, hole number 7 is next. We play in this one with a backbone and a plus 20% elevation. We'll be playing this shot at mid distance, and we're going to be playing 2 backspin and 2 right spin on the shot. This is a tough hole because this is a very bumpy fairway, so any kind of minor twinge or miss on this drive, your ball is actually going to be bounced to a different direction than where you're aiming. So we went with 2 back, 2 right, and now we're just going to try to aim our shot towards the hole as best as we can. Trying to take into account a little bit of left to right push with that straight side wind to the right. So we aim that one with the end of the ball guide kind of right there on the edge of the that line that separates the dark and the light square. We make our adjustment, mid adjustment for the wind here. And let's see how this one comes in. We hit this one perfect. It's going to come in pretty close to the hole, and we're really just going to miss the ace. Now, it did get a little bit of a roll out there, which sometimes happens on this hole. So definitely be warned about that. This is a tough hole, and if this is a hole that you can get the ace on consistently, you're definitely going to be picking up a stroke on the field, in my opinion. The good news is even a little chip here off the fringe is a very makeable shot. And if you want to go for the ace here, you have to go at the hole. With the green being uphill at the front edge, if you don't give it enough speed, it's not going to get there. So if I would go with like 3 backspin there instead of 2, chances are the ball would be short of the hole and not even come close. All right, so we got hole number 8 is next. I'm going to show you this shot 3 different ways with 3 different balls. As you can see, the first shot we're playing is with a power 4 ball, full topspin, 4 balls of right spin, and we're going with about plus 10% on the elevation. Pushing the shot into overpower. I am going to use some overpower on this shot. As you see, I would say probably 25 to 50% is the amount that you can use on this shot, and get yourself up there either to the edge of the green or even on the green. As you can see, with a little bit more overpower, my shot would have rolled onto the green. But be very careful, because if you don't get far enough on that green, it's going to be a very, really bad putt to try to get that eagle. From this position right here, it's a very nice little wedge chip, even with the dart. Play at 0% and just aim it at the hole with a nice straight tailwind at your back. And all you got to do is hit perfect or great left, and it still goes in. All right, so I'm going to show you two other ways on this hole with two other style balls, one with a Titan and one with a Berserker. So you can see what those shots look like if you decide to use a different ball. So with the Titan here, we're going to go with the same setup with top spin and right spin. With a Titan ball, you definitely are going to have to use more overpower to get your shot up to the hole. No reason to curl the shot. I'm not sure why I curled it, but I did. I would just go with a straight shot, no curl needed, and then let that funnel in the middle of that fairway just do all the work. As you see, we still got our shot up near the green, and we'd have a very nice little wedge chip from there. I'd still play that one at 0% if you were in that position. So from this spot right here, we're playing, my opponent's playing the shot with Berserker. He has a level 7 extra mile, so a little bit more yardage on his extra mile than I had. And he's going to be playing it with the Berserker. I think this was a computer player, because he went from Navigator to Berserker in the blink of an eye. But as you see, he's using a good amount of overpower on this shot with the edge of the ball down there, the bottom of that ring. And it comes in, it's going to bounce really well, and he actually ends up in pretty good position right here. If he'd gone with a little bit less overpower on that shot, it would have been perfect. And really would have been probably putting for a very easy eagle. But as you can see, you know, any of those balls can get you in good position for the eagle drop on 7. It just comes down to, or on 8, it just comes down to what ball you have available and what ball you want to use. All right, hole number 9 is next. This is another chance at an albatross. The big topper is going to be the club that I would encourage you to use off this tee box. And I've got a big topper 1 here, so I'm going to be playing this shot with a Berserker ball. I just felt like with a Titan ball, you know, I'd have to go full, complete overpower, and I just didn't like the shot and how it looked. So for that reason, I switched to Berserker. I give myself a little bit extra distance on the driver. And let's see what this level 1 big topper can do on this hole. So we push our shot up here. We're going to go with a good amount of overpower here. Almost full overpower on this shot, not quite. And we still hit pretty close to perfect. We get a nice bounce, and this one's going to roll really well up this fairway, almost to the edge of that, into the little shadow right there. And at the 420 mark, that's going to give you a shot with your thorn, and you can play a min thorn shot here. So on this shot here, I'd play anywhere from 1 to 2 backspin and 1 to 2 bars of right spin on the shot. I think we end up settling on 1 bar of backspin and 1 bar of right spin in the end. And really, you know, you just want enough spin to straighten out that ball guide, and enough spin to kind of stop that ball a little bit from rolling too quickly. So we're going to aim the shot at the hole, and then we're going to make our adjustment. We do make a very big error here. We adjust our shot at 2.1 rings, which is actually the max adjustment for 4.1 miles per hour. This was a min range shot, and we adjusted it at max range. So that was definitely a mistake on my end. Definitely make sure you are adjusting for the correct club distance when you are making your shots, and I think that's a shot that can definitely fall for you during this tournament. All right, y'all, thank you very much. Hope you had a great day. Hope you learned a few things here, and God bless.